Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome for joining us this evening for today's webinar. I am Dr. Francisca Ateisuo, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's webinar. I'm also the founder and host of the Healthy Lifestyle Hub. And on behalf of all the members of the Healthy Lifestyle Hub, I sincerely thank you so very much for joining us this evening for this webinar. Your presence today reflects and shows that you recognize the importance of investing in your health and well-being. In a summary, the Healthy Lifestyle Hub is a community of health enthusiasts who commit and dedicate themselves to learning and adopting healthy lifestyle habits, and especially in their journey to healthy life. And we practice and promote healthy lifestyle habits such as eating more healthy food, regular exercises, avoidance of harmful substances such as alcohol and tobacco smoking, including illicit drug abuse. We also encourage nurturing meaningful relationships and social connections. Another lifestyle pillar that we also imbibe is managing stress. And that is why we are having this topic today. Today's topic, effective approaches to managing stress, is very timely, especially in today's fast-paced world, where stress has become an unavoidable part of our lives. We have stress ranging from financial strain to challenges with relationship to family problems, and the list is endless. But the good news this evening is that we can control the stress instead of the stress controlling our lives. And that is why this evening we have the privilege of learning practical strategies that can help us manage stress in a healthier and a more productive ways. So it is my pleasure this evening to welcome a very distinguished speaker who will guide us through this important discussion. And she is no other person than Dr. Sambayawu Nyirenda. I call her Dr. Samba for short. I find it difficult pronouncing the whole name. So before she comes up to speak, please permit me to just read out a short bio of her. Dr. Samba is the director of Serai Holistic Care, a lifestyle medicine general practice in Francistown, all the way from Botswana. A role she has held since November 2016. Following decades of service with the Botswana Ministry of Health and Wellness and the CDC Botswana in TB and HIV research, Dr. Samba has dedicated her career to advancing lifestyle medicine. She was certified by the International Board of the Lifestyle Medicine as a lifestyle medicine professional in 2022 and as a lifestyle medicine physician in 2023. She is very passionate about disease prevention and holistic well-being. She offers food for life nutrition and cooking classes, and she specializes in stress reduction and resilience training using mindfulness-based interventions. She is also a behavior change facilitator in digital therapeutics. She coaches users of evidence-based health apps, and she is also trained as a diabetic prevention program coach. Please join me in giving her a warm virtual welcome. Thank you. Dr. Samba, you have the floor.
So much for that warm welcome, Dr. Francisca. And thank you for this invitation to present on something that I'm so passionate about. And I hope that we will have a good evening of engagement. The only disclaimer I'd like to add is that one or two of the apps that I may be talking about today are ones that I work with, though I'm offering. I'm offering the free. I'm going to talk about the free versions of those apps. So if that might count as a disclaimer, yeah. Otherwise, nothing else. Okay, so let's get this started. Okay. Bear with me, just allow me to take a breath, to just get here now into this moment. Just taking a breath, being here now. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I needed that. Okay, because I get too excited. Okay, what we hope to cover today. We're going to talk about stress basics, what it is, why it matters, and why working adults like us need practical tools now, as Dr. Francisca has said. And then we're going to talk about the DREAMS pillars as a simple roadmap for whole person care. So just going deeper into how the pillars of lifestyle medicine can support us. And then we're going to go into looking at evidence-based actions from, just put this down, there we go. Evidence-based actions from mindfulness-based interventions, from lifestyle medicine, food for mood science that we can use at home, at work, in the clinic, and community. We're also going to learn how stress management supports better outcomes in hypertension, type 2 diabetes, chronic kidney disease, sleep disturbance, and anxiety, depression, whether not just in reducing their risks, the risks of us developing these conditions, but also if we happen to be living with these conditions, how better management of stress can support us in reducing, in having better outcomes in these conditions. And we're going to learn also, hopefully, some short skills that we can use as busy adults, whether in the market, offices, schools, wherever we are, wherever we can be found. These are little practices we can bring to bring ourselves back to the moment and to get out of the stress. And I will also offer 7-day action plan and supportive group habits that may be of interest to check out. Okay, so what is stress? So it's actually the body's natural physical and mental reaction to life experiences, challenges, or perceived threats. So when we face a stressful situation, your nervous system releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, triggering a fight or flight response, or even maybe a freeze one that prepares you to react quickly or to act like you're dead maybe. And this is from the WHO website, this definition. And it's important for us to be able to categorize by the impact and the nature, because we can have the eustress, which is positive stress that motivates us, focuses our energy, and improves performance. Examples: the feelings that you get when you're starting a new job, exercising, or planning an exciting event, like maybe getting married to the love of your life. All that's very stressful, but that can be a eustress. Okay. Then there's the distress. That's the negative stress that drains energy, decreases performance, and feels outside one's ability to cope. Stress can also be can be categorized by the duration and the frequency. So we get acute stress, short-term stress that comes on suddenly, highly intense, but quickly resolves. Most common type and helps the body to react to immediate danger. So maybe you are crossing a street and you suddenly realize there's a speeding car coming and you just jump out of the way very fast. That can be an acute moment of stress that has served to save your life. And then there's the episodic acute stress. This occurs when acute stress happens frequently and consistently, leaving a person in a constant state of chaos or pressure. This is common in highly driven, worried individuals. And then there's the chronic stress, which I think is what we're also talking about today. There's the prolonged, unrelenting stress that continues over weeks, months, or years without relief. This type is most damaging and is often linked to ongoing financial struggles or long-term systematic pressures or some other kind of challenges that are being experienced in the society. And this slide of this busy looking thing is just to say, when we have these stress responses, the body can feel like it can generate sometimes this fear response, and there's all these different parts of the body that get activated in response to what is perceived as a threat, perhaps. So there's everything from different parts of the brain that get activated, our heart, and the hormones that get released. So it's something that affects the whole body in different ways. And then now, it's important for us to know that stress is not only a feeling. Why does it matter? Because unmanaged stress can worsen the quality of life, work, performance, sleep, depression, anxiety, can lead to elevated BMI, insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease. Chronic outside pressure, including financial strain, discrimination, social adversity, can build what we call an allostatic load or weathering. This matters in midlife, especially because many people balance caregiving, income generation, social expectations, and their own chronic disease care at the same time. And especially maybe sometimes there can be more social expectations expected of certain people than of others, especially perhaps maybe as women. I'm not discriminating against men, but I'm just saying or experience the social expectations that can be there. So these are things to be aware of. And it's to be aware that while stress may be there, it's also a matter of how we perceive, how stressed we perceive ourselves to be, which is why we're going into this webinar, to learn about these tools. That is also about the perception we may have about what we're experiencing. So it's helpful to think of stress like a fire alarm. So it's helpful when danger is real, harmful when it keeps ringing all day. And repeated activation can be pushing the blood pressure, glucose, sleep disruption, irritability, and unhealthy coping upwards. And the chronic stress load, the body, thoughts, relations, work, and illness, they all stack, and they make a difference. Right. Okay. Why recognizing and managing stress helps prevent chronic conditions. So we know that with hypertension, high blood pressure, stress can worsen the blood pressure control. And we know that mindfulness-based approaches and other tools that we're going to learn about today have shown blood pressure benefits in some clinical populations. The same is true for type 2 diabetes. Stress can worsen glucose regulation through poor sleep, and we'll go more into details about that, emotional eating, and just increasing the insulin resistance. Stress does not cause cancers or autoimmune conditions, and it certainly does put us at risk because it decreases our overall immunity and how well our body can function. And should we have the conditions, then we probably struggle more when we are stressed, when we have a chronic condition, an autoimmune condition, because it all adds up. And then mental health, stress management is linked to improved resilience, better whole person health, especially where anxiety, depression, and trauma influence our daily choices. And mental health is so important. It's really, really part of everything else. So it's not a separate something that we can look at on its own. It is part of what will be influencing all these other conditions as well. All righty. So let's look at the dreams, and I'm sure those of you who are in Dr. Francisca's Hub have been familiar with these wonderful lifestyle medicine pillars, the dreams. And just to remember the 6 pillars, dreams, and this has been coined by Dr. Monye in Solong as an easy way for us to remember the lifestyle medicine pillars. Number 1 is diet. framework. And eating pattern can steady energy and mood, not only calories. So whole foods, plant predominant eating patterns support the gut microbiome, and we'll look at the food and mood evidence that we have there. And then our relationships that are positive, connectedness through meaning, value, purpose, reduce isolation and support better habits. E, exercise, the regular movement, lowers tension and improves sleep and resilience. The avoidance of risky substances is so important as part of a stress management technique. And this is alcohol, tobacco, and other risky coping choices. They can worsen stress and disease burden. And we may turn to these habits as a temporary relief, as a form of self-medication. And yet at the end of the day, they do not serve the purpose, because it just makes the stress worse. We're less able to cope with whatever is around us. So mental health, using stress reduction skills early before burnout becomes illness. And I really want to stress that it's important for us to learn some regular mental hygiene habits, if I may put it that way, that we practice regularly, and we're going to go into them and to see, so that we're not waiting for us to become stressed and to start looking for what do I do now, what tools do I use. But when we make these as part of our regular day-to-day life, then they do help us when we need to reach out because we are facing some extra challenging situations. And sleep that is restorative is a core lifestyle medicine pillar and a stress reset. I think we can all agree that we deal better when we've slept better, and we certainly struggle more with stress when we have not slept. Okay. All right. So, pillar number 1, diet and mood. Food. Food can calm or amplify stress. And the Diakin Food and Mood Center, these are resources you'll find at the end of this presentation, focuses on how nutrition and diet affect the mental health. And they've got many resources there that one can download and just check out and try. And note that diet and mood affect each other in a two-way relationship. So healthier patterns rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, fish, olive oil are linked with improved mental health outlook. There is no single superfood, so please do not be deceived by all the advertisements that go there and give your money away to all these wonderful supplements that cost so much per month because it's a superfood for whatever. Trust first in eating more whole plants, more whole foods, and work with your healthcare provider, work with your doctor to find out if you do need supplements, what are the supplements that can really support you. Yes, there is a role for supplements, but there's no superfood that will solve all your problems. Okay. So live your dreams. This diet should support a healthy microbiome with a fiber. When it is fiber rich, full of that fiber, and those colorful plants, all those colorful plants, when we eat the rainbow, we've got phytonutrients, polyphenols in the red cabbage, purple eggplant, green okra, all those things. All those are medicines and food that help us in different ways. The gut microbiome digests them, and they release all these substances, the short chain fatty acids and other things that help us in different ways. So let's eat the rainbow, right? So some friendly food swaps suggestions there, building our meals more around beans, lentils, peas, nuts, seeds, groundnuts, greens, okra, tomatoes, onions, millet, sorghum. Oh, I'm getting hungry reading this list. And butternut. The suggestion to reduce ultra-processed snacks, to reduce sugary drinks, excess alcohol, and stress-triggered overeating. To use planned meal prep to reduce decision fatigue and late-night comfort eating. This is so important for us as working, if many of us are working adults, to try and have some kind of meal prep ideas, so that some of the dishes, maybe we cook them ahead, some of like these beans and all that, and we can be having some frozen, etc., so that we're not always having to decide what we're going to eat, how we're going to eat, etc. These are just some suggestions to consider. Okay, all right. Mood and nutrients, I thought I should just mention this. So that omega-3 fatty acids are very important, and we could opt for mercury poor sources such as non-fish sources, because unfortunately the fatty fish that have omega-3 also usually tend to be heavily contaminated with lead and other things from the sea. So it may be, and these have been shown to be helpful in bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and the prevention of psychotics. And even just generally, it is suggested that we try to have adequate omega-3s, which we can get through walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds, which are known as linseeds. In pregnant women, there's a positive association between low omega-3 levels and higher incidence of maternal depression. So something to watch out for. Folate or vitamin B9 is known, can help in the production of serotonin and dopamine. We're going to learn more about these hormones down the line. So when used with antidepressant medications, it has been shown to improve the efficacy or shorten the response time. So dark leafy greens, or like the spinach, the moroho here, of what we call over here in Botswana, the legumes, all these, they've got a lot of folate in them, which is also good for the blood cells. And then studies have shown improvements in mood with the intake of saffron. So these are spices, which are also medicine, turmeric, probiotics, flax seeds, walnuts, and carbohydrate-rich evening meals. And there's just a reminder of this African heritage power plate, the traditional way of eating, which is protective against diabetes, heart diseases, cancers, obesity, etc. So a diet that is predominantly whole grains, vegetables, beans, fruits. These are the kind of food pattern that protect us against a lot of the chronic conditions. I'd like to pause here for this little poem of being human. So this being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. It's by Rumi, a Sufi mystic. Okay, now we go to R from dreams, relationships, connectedness, Ubuntu. It is a stress medicine. Social and spiritual circles, small accountability groups, improve follow-through on walking, sleep prayer, or reflection and food planning. So just like these hubs that we have here, Dr. Francisca has, and I know Dr. Tuto in Botswana, he also has one, Move for Health. All these, they help us, this connectedness. They help us as stress medicine. Then the family routine, so shared evening meals. Maybe we're losing some of these rituals because we get such busy life, and device-free time. So actually being together and really being there together, not each one on their device. And also delegating chores so that it's not just one person who's always running around and doing everything. These all reduce stress. And there's this oxytocin effect that we get when we've got positive social company. So that when we are in that kind of a space, there's a lot of oxytocin that's produced, and it's likely that helps to support us and to reduce stress, so we feel connected. And to remember that connectedness also extends beyond social networks, and it can be to return to nature, spirituality, or even, with pets, the domestic pets that we have. We can have some powerful connections with the little four-legged family members. And all these, they add up to reducing the impact of stress on our daily life. So let's make use of all these connections. So after R is E in the dreams. Exercise. Movement is one of the fastest stress relievers, as well as a great antidepressant. So Why it works. Regular physical activity and movement, they support mood, sleep, and chronic disease self-management. It can increase endorphins, the body's natural feel-good, better hormones, which may reduce pain perception and improve stress tolerance. So movement, exercise will stress release, will support sleep, and lift the mood through endorphins that are generated when we exercise. So a practical prescription can be a 10-minute brisk walk after meals. This will also help a lot with insulin resistance as well as weight loss. So just walking gently, briskly, and if you can walk with somebody after every meal, that can be a great stress reliever. Three walking breaks during work shifts. So just being mindful when we're at work and sitting all day, just to remember to walk up, get up and walk. Maybe go to talk with a colleague on the other side of the office, or just walk around, but some kind of movement. Then we can do stretching or chair exercises for those with pain or fatigue. And wherever you are now, I invite you, if you'd like to just stretch a bit, and if you can, and maybe just move those legs a little. We've been sitting for some time, so yeah. And weekend group walks, dancing, or active chores can be another way to relieve stress. And there's the walk with the dog, there's dance with the dog, and there's move for health. And all these links will be shared at the end of the presentation. So after that, now we come to, as we follow our dreams, we come to A, avoidance of risky substance use, how quick relief babies can create long harm. So using alcohol to switch off may worsen sleep, mood, blood pressure, and glucose control. Smoking, vaping, nicotine, and other drugs are not stress treatments. They add cardiovascular risk and kidney risk apart from the cancer and others. So we may do them as a short-term self-medication, and yet they are not the best way for us to work with the stress. Doom scrolling, which we can get into, because they create algorithms that once they see that once the system sees we go to one type of video, it just lines up a whole lot of the other ones that are like that, and we just find ourselves going from one to another, because they do a lot of research in getting us addicted to that. So doom scrolling, revenge bedtime procrastination, constant WhatsApp exposure can keep the stress system activated. Stress eating. Sorry there, a call just came in and I just, okay, sorry. Let me just send them a message that I'm in a apologies for that. I'm back. So stress eating often favors sugary or ultra-processed foods that can destabilize weight and mood, and sedatives without guidance can become dependency screening and referral matter. So please, let's not disregard this, and there'll be another side about this, but should we be needing this, let's not self-medicate. Let's seek professional help if all these things are too much for us. And it's important for us to replace shame with curiosity. What need am I trying to meet? So rather than being ashamed of maybe unhelpful habits we may have, we can just look at it as a chance to see what is it that can really help me to support my health goals. All right, so I'll just go to the next slide. Okay, so we've done movement, avoidance, risks. Okay, so now as we continue with dreams, we come to M for mental health and stress reduction. So this is where we're going to really dive deep. And I'd like to introduce you to mindfulness. For those of you who may not have heard about it, I'm sure many of you have. But this, as a mindfulness-based intervention facilitator, this really is one of my go-to my best tool that I can offer with regard to stress apart from these others. So what is mindfulness? Basically, it's about paying attention on purpose to what you're thinking or feeling. It creates awareness of the space between a stimulus and a response. It's being fully present in the moment. It's experiencing a situation in its entirety without trying to get, do, or be somewhere else. It's being aware of your surroundings. It's withholding judgment or interpretation, just having an attitude of gentle curiosity and noticing. As we can see there, there's an adult whose mind is very, very full, and there's the child whose mind is just fully in awe and wonder at that sun shining. And that's a mindful moment. We will go more into what these things, because they may sound strange and they may sound quite challenging to as concepts. Okay, so Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. And to me, this is so important, because many times we are reacting. We're not responding, but we are reacting to what it is that we are perceiving, that we are feeling, or that we're thinking. And with mindfulness, it's an invitation for us to just pause and just use that little space before we react, to just be with the moment so that we can respond more skillfully. And William James, I think he was a US psychologist, said this: the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. And this isn't to say that stress is not a challenge or stress is not whatever, but it's to tell us that it also matters how we perceive the stress, that stress can be there. And what matters is also how we perceive the stress, how stressful we perceive ourselves to be. That will also matter a lot in how the stress finally affects us. Okay. Right. Okay. So this is where now I'd like to invite us to just understand that there are some practices that we can be using to help us, and I will also offer at the end resources that you can look up. But the most important thing is we need to start by noticing the weather pattern landing in the body. This is what it is. So it's not so much to say who's making me stress, why am I stressing, but it's to say what is going on here in my body right now. There's a famous author who wrote about somebody who lived in his head, which was miles removed from the body. And I think many of us can relate to how we live most of our time in our head, not connected to our body, but very much lost in our head. And, not quite aware of what's going on in our body, responding to our body, because we are lost in our minds. So mindfulness is a reminder to drop into the body. This body is a very wise body, and it's a reminder for us to drop into the body. So this is the stop practice, which is a very easy one, and it can be very useful during the busy time, whatever. Yeah. So when we feel alarmed, stressed, reactive, we can just stop. So by stopping is just to stop, pause, and just be there. And then that's the S. Then the T, to take a breath, to actually take a full cycle of breathing in the body. Maybe breathe in right into the toes. We can do this together now. And then from the toes out again. So taking a full breath. And then we can observe first the bodily sensations. What am I feeling? Is there tightness somewhere? Is my heart racing? Is there clenching? Then my thoughts. Maybe what am I thinking? And my thoughts are going all over the place. Well, why is this going on? What's going to happen to me? Whatever. And my emotions. Perhaps I'm feeling fear, whatever. And then I can be curious. Say, interesting. This is what's going on in my body right now. So I'm not judging, I'm just observing that this is what my body is experiencing. This is the weather pattern. This is the clouds, the rain, and the thunder, whatever, that's visiting me in this moment. And then after that, I can proceed and just think, okay, what do I need? What might be helpful for me right now? What do I need to do to take care of myself in this moment? So this is just like, how would I comfort a little child who came crying to me or who was hurt? How would I be with them? So I can take care of myself in that same spirit, because I'm also struggling. This is a hard moment. So it's not about who made me feel this way, what made me feel this way, whatever. It's about how do I take care of this yucky emotion, yucky sensation that I'm experiencing. Okay? All right, okay. And another practice we can use is this rain for self-compassion, which is similar kind of thing. It's also about just recognizing the thoughts, accepting. And by accepting, it's saying, okay, this is what is here now, this is what has landed. So accepting doesn't mean I like it or I wish to have it. I'm just acknowledging this is my experience in this moment. This is what's going on right now in my body. And then investigating once again with gentle curiosity whether I've got tightness, whether my shoulders are feeling tight, whether my jaw is feeling clenched, whether my heart is racing, whether my thoughts are racing, what am I experiencing in my body? And then just nurturing myself and saying, wow, this is a hard moment. Okay, so I just take a breath here. You're going to be all right. It will pass. So then I've done this rain of self-compassion. I come out of that moment and I'm able to meet the situation in a more skillful way, to respond rather than to react. Sorry, I'm not sure why that went back. Okay. And then here there's a practice offered for the little ones, and which can be helpful for us too. So calm down with take 5 breathing. So this is a five finger breathing, it's called. And one just stretches out the hand, and feel free to stretch out your hand right now if you care to. And then just tracing with the pinky, breathing in, breathing out, or breathing in, the next ring finger, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and just going that way the whole hand. And this really works because it engages many senses at the same time. So I'm looking at my hand, I'm touching each finger, so there's the vision, then there's the tactile, then I'm also focusing on my breathing in and breathing out. And if I'm actually saying out aloud, I'm hearing, there's the sound as well. So all these many senses get engaged, and the brain is able to come back sooner to the present moment. So this might be one to try, and also practice with the little ones or others, or other person. Just say, okay, can we do a 5 finger breathing here, just to get us calm? Yeah, so, yeah. And as I was saying, what helps us is on a day-to-day basis having some kind of attitudes that help us in our day-to-day dealings. And so, for instance, the non-judging, just noticing and resisting the urge to judge or to label or to categorize thoughts that come into your mind. This is a bad thought, this is a horrible thought, whatever. To start just by just being aware that, okay, that's a thought that's coming. And in time, you'll get to see whether it's a helpful, not supportive, whatever. But just at the beginning, not to just rush to judge, or even in terms of people or whatever it is that's there. It's not to say everything goes. It's just to say, to be aware. Do I tend to just rush to want to judge something as this or that or whatever? Or can I just observe something and just be a bit curious as to what is this here, what's going on here? And then the attitude of patience, that sometimes things don't unfold as I would want them to. They take their own time, and then this process cannot be hurried. And then this beginner's mind. So in the beginner's mind, there's a lot to learn. I don't know anything, and I don't pretend to know anything. I'm open to learning And I'm open to saying, interesting, maybe this one has got another viewpoint. Maybe there's something else going on here, rather than thinking that I've got all the answers. So then my mind is closed off and I'm unable to perceive a situation as it's really unfolding, because in my mind, I've already judged and decided this is what is actually happening here and this is how I'm going to react. So just having that beginner's mind, trusting the intuition and your own authority. Then there's also like this non-striving. So the non-striving is just to be with oneself, to be patient with oneself, not to say that, oh, I didn't meditate properly today, so I'm not good at meditation, or I wasn't. No, it's to say whatever I'm doing, okay, for this moment, this is good enough. This is what I can do. And, maybe tomorrow I'll do more or whatever, but just to take things with gentleness and with patience. Acceptance, okay? I know this one people can struggle with, but as I said in the previous slide, it's about just accepting, acknowledging what is there, what is evolving. So rather than saying, I don't want to deal with this, I don't like this, so I'm pushing it away. Just this feeling is whatever is saying, okay, this is what is here now. How can I be with it? How can I take care of myself in this moment? So it's not saying everything goes. No, that's not what acceptance means. It's just an attitude of acknowledging rather than resisting and fighting and wishing for things to be different in that moment that we are experiencing, whatever we experience, which goes as well with letting go. Then generosity and gratitude, these are so important. I think from early conditioning in childhood, we are always being told about how important they are. And yes, they are wonderful, supportive attitudes that will help us reduce our stress. And generosity isn't just in terms of giving stuff or money, whatever, to people. It's being generous about our time, being generous with our patience, the kind of patience we have with other people who may be irritating us and maybe we feel like they're getting on our nerves. So being just generous in how much we can just be patient with them, and being generous in the amount of attention we give to other people when we're talking with them, that we're not just already constructing the answers in our head, but we're actually listening to what they have to say and we're there for them. So we're being generous with our time and with our attention, which is so, so important. And quality attention, as we were talking about. And then, of course, gratitude. Gratitude is one of my favorite tools. And with gratitude, it's not to say one does not acknowledge that there are challenges, that there's things that are difficult, that there's pain. And yet, in that same moment, on the one hand, holding what is difficult, and on the other hand, all that is still good in that moment. All that in that very moment, I can see that the people who may be supporting me, the people who are there for me, even as much as I've got this challenge, this suffering, this thing that's here on this other side. So being able to hold the two together, because the two are there. And sometimes when we are locked in stress and all that, we forget to look on this other side. So gratitude is not about denial of difficulty. It's about being with both in that moment. Okay. All righty. Then there's these 10 ways to be more mindful at work by Shama Shaladina. So be consciously present. It's some of what we've already talked about. So that I'm just being mindful of the work. So when I'm there, I'm really, really there and not somewhere else. Using short mindful exercises at work, so taking little breaks, maybe taking a bit of a stretch, taking a bit of a walk in between, doing that stop breathing thing, just checking in what's going on in my body right now. And then being a single tasker, it's a myth that we are meant to multitask. It would seem the brain does better when we do one task and we finish one task at a time. And many times when we are multitasking, we tend to make more mistakes, and there's what is known as the task shifting, where we lose a lot. When we are shifting from this task to this task, we lose a lot it taxes the brain more. So focusing on one job, and if people are used to us multitasking and they keep on coming, it's just to explain, let me finish this and then I'll attend to you. Let me finish this and then I'll attend to you. So that we do one thing and we do it properly as best we can. And then using mindful reminders. So we can have on the apps or on the phone, little thing like take a breath or whatever, or call somebody, whatever it is that can be a reminder to get back to the present moment. And then we can maybe slow down to speed up, because sometimes doing things too fast leads to more mistakes, and then we have to go back, correct, repeat, etc. So we can allow ourselves to do things slower at our pace if that is what works better for us. And then we can make stress our friend, so that when stresses come, we can also say, okay, so stress has landed. Hello, stress, my old friend. Yeah, let's work together here. Yeah. So it's not to say, this is too much, right? Whatever. But, just to say, okay, how can I work with this? How can I be with this? And then feeling gratitude, which was over there. And this is feeling gratitude even for the people that we work with, for the people who, I don't know, the cleaners in our office, the security guard in the parking lot, all these people, feeling gratitude for them, appreciating them, acknowledging them. These all help and help us to cultivate a better atmosphere at work. Cultivating humility. We don't know everything. We don't have everything. So always being humble, being ready to say, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this other person is right. It all makes a difference. And then accepting what you cannot change. So the serenity prayer is helpful here. Grant me serenity to accept the thing. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Adopting a growth mindset. So seeing every challenge as something that I can learn from. And maybe whatever I do not do so well today, what can I learn from this? Rather than, that was a complete disaster. Nothing ever is. There's always something we can learn from something that did not work out. We can learn what did not work out, so that the next time we can know how we can do better. So we can take every lesson as an opportunity to learn, and that will definitely reduce our sense of how stressed we are. Okay, so here I'd like to offer this free app called Unwinding by Sharecare. And it's got these little mini courses. You can feel free to download it, try it out. If you find it helpful, fine. If not, just uninstall it again. So it's got a stress mini course, anger mini course. It's even got something to help with sleep. And it can just be something. And if you're a healthcare worker, it's got a special module for healthcare workers. And it's got another one if you're a caregiver, looking after somebody, looking after people. It's also got a special caregiver module to help you deal with those particular stresses peculiar to caregiving and peculiar to healthcare. Okay, then our last pillar now is sleep restoration. And sleep often shows up first at night. So why sleep comes first? Restorative sleep is a core pillar. Poor sleep can amplify stress, cravings, irritability, self-management, fatigue. This 24-hour circadian rhythms helps coordinate our hormones, appetite, metabolism, the gut-brain connection. So irregular sleep can worsen both mood and cardiometabolic control. So 7 to 9 hours, practical for many adults, adjusted for individual needs and clinical contexts. So sleep protection checklist. Keep a regular sleep and wake time to protect your 24-hour cycle. Dim your lights, reduce screen time 60 minutes before bed, avoid heavy meals, let caffeine, alcohol close to bedtime, use prayer, gratitude, breathing, or soft stretching as a new bedtime cue. And we can talk about the QQRT, which is the quantity of sleep, your quality of sleep, the regularity of sleep, and your timing. Some people are more daytime people, others are more nighttime, just to look and to see what works better for you. And TJ Power's Dose Effect is a helpful memory tool so that we can have healthy routines that support the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins through meaningful activity, connection, calm food habits, movement, and restorative sleep. We'll look more into the TJ Power TJ Dose Effect in a minute. All right. Okay. Yeah, there's the TJ Power Dose Effect. You can find him on YouTube, and then there's also some whatever. So he's a neuroscientist, and he talks about how dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, these are 4 hormones that we can use to help us for our mood and our well-being. So dopamine that we have in our body, we gets activated by reward, motivation, and progress, and we can support our dopamine with meaningful goals. Sunlight, especially if we get up, when we get up in the morning and we go out, it can help this dopamine, early morning walks, etc. Movement, completing tasks, celebration of small wins, all these help our dopamine levels. Then there's the oxytocin, that's the connection and the trust. And we can support it, the oxytocin that our body produces, with kindness, safe touches, prayer circles, social support, and sense of belonging. This will all increase our oxytocin levels. Then the serotonin, it's the mood steadiness and well-being. The gut health is so important because most of the body serotonin is produced by the gut, by the hard-working microbiome. And then there's the endorphins, the feel-good hormones, natural pain and stress easing, and we can support them with brisk walking, dancing, laughter, and enjoyable exercise. So use those as a memorable lifestyle medicine shorthand. So eat for your gut, eat to protect your gut, move for your endorphins, connect for your oxytocin, and build purpose and progress for dopamine. So red flags when stress needs urgent mental health and follow-up. So please, let's just be aware. When we are maybe experiencing thoughts of self-harm, hopelessness, or feeling life is not worth living. When we've got persistent sadness, loss of function, panic, severe anxiety that's not settling, severe insomnia, agitation, confusion, escalating alcohol or sedative misuse, blackouts, withdrawal, violence, abuse, or uncontrolled, then we may need to seek professional help. And please, if we see a loved one or a colleague, whatever, struggling with these, let's reach out to them and help them to seek professional help. Let's not just depend on using lifestyle medicine pillars or mindfulness based to work with some of these problems. They may need a deeper support. Okay, now, and the small daily habits that can build resilience. So this is something to try out. Notice your biggest stress triggers. Day 2, practice slow breath resets before meals. Day 3, take 3-minute walk after one meal. Day 4, build a one balanced high fiber meal. Day 5, call or visit one supportive person. 6, set a sleep wind down routine. 7, reflect what helped you most and what will continue. Daily anchor, what does my body need right now? Okay, I think we're all right. Okay, so this is a reminder to walk, don't run. That's it. Walk, don't run. Slow down, breathe deeply, and open your eyes because there's a whole world right here within this one. The bush doesn't suddenly catch fire. It's been burning the whole time. Moses is simply moving slowly enough to see it. And when he does, he takes off his sandals. Not because the ground has suddenly become holy, but because he's just now becoming aware that the ground has been holy the whole time. Efficiency is not God's highest goal for your life, neither is business, or how many things you can get done in one day, or speed or even success. But walking, which leads to seeing, now that's something. That's the invitation for every one of us today. And every day, in every conversation, interaction, event, moment, to walk, not run. And in doing so, to see a whole world right here within this one. So you're invited to check out these resources that I've talked about. There's the Institute of Mindfulness South Africa, IMISA. They've got many resources there. There's this Habit Change Made Simple and the Unwinding Free app that I talked about. There are also these self-based, mindfulness-based stress reduction course, which is the free one that you can check out, the Palouse one. And there's the Mindful Way Through Stress. These are books that may be help. Then the Food and Mood Academy. They've got a lot of resources there that one can download. And there's the Dose Effect that I talked about by TJ Power. And for your movement and connections, there's Abuja Dance with a Dog at Brookfield, at Dr. Manya's clinic, as well as Walk with a Dog. And here in Francistown, we also have a Walk with a Dog once a month. And Dr. Tuto, he's got a Move for Health community WhatsApp. Those are his Botswana WhatsApp numbers if you'd like to join his worldwide community. and virtual movements online, so to speak, and challenges, you're free to join. Okay, so, and my email there is samba@saraiholistic.co.bw, or you can even reach out to Dr. Francisca if you need to contact me. Alrighty, so finally, I'd like to offer us this 1-minute breathing space where just taking a moment to just having this open awareness of what's happening in your body, your thoughts right now, what's going on after all this 1 hour of sharing and listening, what thoughts, sensations you may be feeling without judgment, just observing all that weather pattern. And now just narrowing into the breath and just breathing in and out. And just noticing, where do you feel your breath most? Is it the back of your nose? Is it down your throat? Is it in your chest? Where are you feeling the breath most? The mind may wander. If it wanders, just bring it back to the breath gently, because the mind will wander. And now open out again, consciously expanding awareness to the whole body. Imagine this whole body breathing from top to bottom. Just coming back into this moment. So I'd like to leave you with this, a meditation that may we find stillness in the midst of chaos. May we be at ease in the midst of discomfort. May we be safe and well in the midst of uncertainty. May we live with kindness in the midst of all that is difficult. May we find joy in the ordinary and the mundane. So thank you so much for your kind attention today. Thank you.
Dr. Samba, thank you. You can see all the emojis going on there. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Much, much appreciated. Please, let's just keep appreciating Dr. Samba. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Samba has said so much, and I don't know which of the points I should summarize and which one I can't summarize. There are so many. But a few of the takeaways that we should go home with today is that stress is a natural response to life's challenges, and it can be positive when it motivates us to act, but when it becomes prolonged, like a fire alarm that never stop ringing, it can contribute to chronic health conditions, as she named, cardiovascular disease, depression, and all kinds. And there are healthy lifestyle habits that are powerful stress management tools. I'm sure some of us are surprised that eating fruits, eating vegetables, whole grains, millets can actually calm you down. I'm sure some people are quite surprised with that. And also staying physically active, that is one of my major stress reliever. I just put on my shoes, and I'm off. And by the time I come back, my endorphins are just soaring higher there. That's one of my favorite stress reliever. Also, nurturing meaningful relationships, avoiding harmful substances, and so many other healthy lifestyle. Now, mindfulness, that's a powerful one. It's a skill that is really worth cultivating. Take time each day to be present. I find that very difficult. Just like the picture you showed us, with the little child. The little child is just looking at the sun. I have so many things just going around my head at the same time. So this is something we need to cultivate. Just be present. Quiet your mind, and that can significantly reduce your stress. And then, very important, she said we should pay attention to the warning signs of the red flags. Very, very important. And then she named many consistent daily habits. I was trying to follow that finger breath. It's quite helpful. Breathe in, the second finger, breathe out, breathe in. I'm going to practice that one. And an important thing, she said, make stress your friend. Dr. Samba, that's a big one. and also be a single taxer. Oh boy, I'm very guilty of that, wanting to do so many things at the same time. Thank you so very much, so very much. Please put your questions in the chat box. Let me just go through it. Um, to somebody's asking, how do you make stress your friend? Could you just briefly um, tell us more about that? Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you for all your appreciation. It really warms my heart. So yes, how do we make stress our friend? So when stress lands, rather than pushing that stress away, saying, okay, stress is landing here. How can I be with this? How can I work with this? So that even as we are finding ways to work with the stress, we're probably going to find a more skillful way of being with it rather than the pushing away. I don't know if I'm making sense there.
Okay, so
Because
it's kind of finding calmness in the midst of chaos, kind of.
exactly.
Okay, okay,
Accepting this is not easy, this is yucky, I'd rather
okay,
not have it, but I'm not going to push it away.
okay.
I'm just gonna be with whatever. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that helped. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Monica says awareness of the level you cannot go beyond. Is that a comment or a question? I think it's a comment. Okay. Fashi asks, what can you do if you are not able to recognize your stresses? He said he had a situation where he had an unbearable migraine and extreme pain in the lower back and was taken to the ER. At that time, I didn't have anything bothering me or worrying me, but ended up in such a situation. Oh dear. So, Dr. Samba, he's trying to ask, how do you recognize, what can you do if you're not able to recognize your stresses? What do you advise?
Yes. So sorry, Fashi, that you had that experience. Not an easy one at all. If I may ask you, Fashi, if you had a little child that falls and comes to you crying, what's the first thing you do? You would probably just embrace the child, right? We're embracing the child, we are calming the child. We're not asking, why did you fall? Where did you fall? What were you doing? We're just embracing the child. So, in that same way, that hard situation that you had, the invitation from the mindfulness is to be with the whatever it is that you're experiencing in those moments. Later, perhaps later, as time goes on, you may be able to recognize that there may be a pattern that when this happens, this is what happens. When this happens, but in that moment when you're having it, it's not why have I got this migraine or why is my head aching, which may be the instinct to say, but why am I feeling this way? It's just to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling now. How can I take care of myself in this moment? I don't know whether that's making any sense, Vashi, because that's not an easy situation. Because I'm not sure that you will necessarily find the reason why in that moment. Was that Fashi? How did that land
All
with
right.
Fashi?
He says it not make sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Joshua says, thanks for that insightful and beautiful piece of work, Doc. Speaking of diets, is there any evidence attached to the use of herbs in the effective management of stress? I met a couple of clients who wants to know about the use of ashwagandha herb and its safety in the management of stress. I'm not quite familiar with this herb. Dr. Samba, does it have an English
thank
name
you.
so that we all can know what it is?
Yeah, it's from Ayurvedic medicine. I think it's a product common in, but from Ayurvedic medicines, the Indian Ayurvedic medicine is a certain combination. So they've been used in the Ayurveda medicine. I think it's just known as that ashwagandha, and it can be combined with other things as well. So yes, thank you for that question. Does that answer your question, Dr. Issa? Because I'm not sure that it's got another
He,
name.
he wants to know if it's
Yeah.
the safety in the management of stress, if it's
Right. Okay. Yeah, very great question. And yeah, and this is a common thing. So for one thing, yes, herbs are plants. Herbs are plants, and herbs, spices, they are all as part of a lifestyle and as part of a diet, not just on their own. And then an important thing is also to be aware that when the products are coming in those packages, sometimes they can be contaminated with other stuff, or they cannot be what they claim to be. So it's to be aware that when they're, because I've seen some actually where there was a concern that some of them in the processing, they may be contaminated with some lead, is to be aware, what does the product actually contain? This is what I invite people to do, and to use that as part of a general well-being and lifestyle, because many people will use this in lieu of changing the lifestyle, just like they will drink certain things for lost weight rather than change the eating habits. So yes, the herbs. I mean, for instance, things like chamomile tea, it will relax you in the evening and help you to have a good sleep. So there are all these wonderful herbs and whatever thing that you, and together they can work very well together, but not on their own. I do not believe. I think it has to be part of a lifestyle and depending on the quality of the product. I hope that answers the question, Josh. Okay, thank you.
right. It does. Thank you.
Joshua is a hardworking mental health nurse here in Francistown, so
Uh,
I think he meets a lot of these people because he's a mental health nurse.
All right. Dr. Sam, another question just came in from Covenant Child. It says, how do you deal with a sudden panic attack, which brought about an overwhelming stress that eventually sinks you into a bad depression? I feel you. I feel you. I feel this question. I'm also interested in the
Panic attacks, nasty business, nasty business. Yes. So I think depending on if on how disabling it is, I mean, this is where we would need to go to a trusted a clinician who can maybe better assess us using the GAD-7 and to see, how much we are being affected by this, and whether there may be some therapy, psychotherapies, whatever that may help, depending. Sometimes some of this mindfulness have been known to reduce, and others may at some time need some kind of medication, depending. I'm just saying, I cannot say offhand. And it's not necessarily that way, but some people may need medication for short term while they work out through all these things. So I think it's to see how disabling and how much it's affecting you, and to seek professional help, not to disregard just because here we've talked about mindful or whatever. Just get the proper help that you need for that, and don't blame yourself for feeling the way you feel, because it's not like we wish ourselves to feel that way. I don't know if I'm making sense there, because sometimes there can be a sense of blaming myself. Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? And people mostly say, just step out of it. Why do you do that? What's wrong with you? you know, and yet it is something that we're experiencing for whatever reasons. I hope that helps. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. Okay. Any more questions from our participants tonight? Okay. If there are no other questions, I would really, really all right, a comment here. Thank you very much, Doctor. My question is, does mindfulness have a negative effect on a person if we are used to embracing it as a stress management tool? Does it have
Yeah.
any negative side effects?
Yeah,
Mindfulness?
great, great question. If we embrace management as a self-management tool, it will backfire. Why? Because we will be using it just to change a situation, to feel better or whatever. And that's not the way mindfulness works. Mindfulness works when we are detached from the outcome, when we're just being present for the sake of being present. I'm coming back to the moment because this is where I need to be. This is where I am right now, not because I want to feel different. I don't know if I'm making sense there, because many times when people use it that way, then they get disappointed when it doesn't work, because we're only using it as a stress relief. But when we make it as part of our natural, normal way of living and of being, then we go to it in a natural way. We just turn towards it when we've got problems. It's like if I didn't know how to change a tire and then I'm waiting for the day I've got a puncture to go start looking how to do the check and the scare tire. Yeah, that sort of thing. So that I would really, really suggest, because it's a way of life. It's not just a tool, it's a way of life. It's a way of being. It's a way of being present, and it will serve us in so many ways. So that it will serve us in the way we react with the people around us, in the way maybe we choose to have our routines, like for instance, being aware that it's important for me to have some quiet time in the morning before I rush out of the house, because then my mind seems to do better. Being aware that I need to give myself space, whatever this. So it becomes a way of life, and that's when it can be more effective. But if I'm going to use it just because I think it may backfire, and then people get disappointed, or people feel like, this is not working. Why am I still worried? Just because we've been going there with an intent that this is going to help me, whatever. Because that's not the way it works. I hope I've explained that.
I believe so, Dr. Samba. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I think we've come to the end of our webinar, and before I let you go, please allow me, on behalf of the Healthy Lifestyle Hub, I want to really express my heartfelt appreciation to our special guest speaker today, Dr. Samba, for sharing her so much insight and practical evidence-based information on stress management. Thank you so much for inspiring us. Also, I would like to sincerely thank our participants, especially those who came all the way from Botswana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. From the members of the Healthy Lifestyle Hub and other participants who have come from different places to join us for this webinar. I'm really, really grateful to all of you. And I hope that you put today's lesson into practice and continue this journey towards a better health with us. Once again, thank you so very much. Do have a wonderful evening, and remember to stay healthy. Small, consistent, healthy choices every day can make a lifetime of difference. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Good night.